understanding. So science is actually in the place of how do we take this spirituality and then apply it into the physical world and use it. And that's kind of the marriage of it. And we're getting deeper and deeper. There's still a lot of stuff that we don't understand. You know, the doctors are still scratching their head about cancer, but then there's other people on the other side says, well, change the energy field around you and cancer will disappear. Or some like cancer didn't even exist in that new body, right? So these are the kind of principles that govern the universe. As we get to know them, we have more control. So right now, without understanding them, there's cause and effect. But when we start to understand them, we cause the effect. There's a difference.
Well said.
Yeah, we're more in control. So
that's it.
Yeah. So
the first clip's about the Kabbalah?
Yeah, the Kabbalah. Yeah. And so she's going to get into like a brief discussion of this. It's very in-depth sacred geometry stuff. But here you go. Check it out.
Let's take a look.
So why do we call it universal Kabbalah? Well, first of all, it's because it's a universal pattern. But secondly, because the version of Kabbalah that we're talking about here with the universal Kabbalah is a Kabbalistic system that is not tied to any particular religion. Now, when most people think about Kabbalah, they think about Jewish mysticism. And there certainly is that. And in the Jewish mystical Kabbalah, they have developed a deep system of understanding the Torah and the hidden messages within the Torah. And they have studies of Zohar and rabbinical commentaries on the deeper mystical implications of the Jewish religion. And working with gematria and the study of numbers behind the words and the letters, and all of this is very beautiful. And in general, it is very much applied to our lives. It's in the same way that the Universal Kabbalah is. But in Universal Kabbalah, we focus much more on it being a map to the self. You know, how can we use this tree of life, for example, and how can we use the understanding of Kabbalah to really harness ourselves and to take it into a system of universal principles that don't rely upon any particular religious dogma or expressed ways of being. In the Universal Kabbalah, we're looking for what are the universal truths, what are the universal principles that we can all benefit from, no matter what your personal, spiritual, or religious preferences may be. You can benefit from Kabbalah. And so in the Universal Kabbalah that I work with, is coming through from the modern mystery school tradition. And in the ancient Western mystery school tradition, there's influence from many different ancient spiritual traditions from around the world. So we work with some of the Hermetic teachings, some of the Templar teachings. We have shamanic studies. We have path of initiation through the Western mysteries and the lineage of King Solomon. And we even have places where we see where the Eastern traditions and the Western traditions unite and really point to the same thing. So in the Universal Kabbalah, I will draw from mystical teachings and traditions from all around the world. You know, I can draw just as much from the Sufi poets as I can from the New Testament of the Bible, as I can from the Old Testament and the Torah, as I can from just modern day science and physics. This is how Universal Kabbalah works. It's a system of correspondences where each part of this tree of life becomes like a filing system, and you're able to take everything from the world around us, everything that we could possibly know about ourselves or the universe, and we can map it into this filing system. So if you were to think of each part of the tree as being like a file folder, and each one has a specific purpose or function, then anything that relates to that, we would learn to file it into that. And then through the Universal Kabbalah and seeing all the interconnections between these different aspects of life, we can come to know more of the greater and how they interact together and work together. So I'm going to be taking you through a journey of what each one represents so that you can get a little bit of a taste of how each one can apply to your life and what you can do with it, and how you can start learning more about this beautiful system called Kabbalah and the Tree of Life.
That was great.
That was a good rundown of, kind of a good foundation for what we're going to get into with Theresa today.
And that's it. So, so she is a representation or she represents the modern mystery teachings.
The school?
Yeah, the school. So yep. I'm not sure where she's located. I believe she's located out in California somewhere.
She is in Los Angeles in a couple of the videos I've watched. I know that she went to school in Washington. I'm not sure if she's still, you know.
But I think, because I heard a couple of stories of people that actually went there. So, obviously, if you want interest, look on Modern Mystery Teachings. It's actually, they'll be localized people in wherever you live, or unless you live in the middle of nowhere, I imagine you could do it. But a lot of stuff is done online anyway these days.
Absolutely.
Actually, I have it.
Yeah, talk about this.
Yeah,
this is cool.
Well, yeah, it's not much to talk about in the sense that I have a meeting with somebody next Sunday.
Nice.
And
what's it for?
It's about the
Modern
Mystery School, yeah. So
cool.
we're talking about that and getting into it because there's different levels of it. But I want to get deeper into the understanding of these principles because it's about activating your own seed in your body. So
Theresa talks about that all the time.
Yeah. So and that's part of what it is the first
stuff.
activation. And as she talks about the Kabbalah, the star seed, and also
when we say activation, when you say that's like what's an easy way to say it? Like a sense of awareness, you know?
That's one way. You can't, it's
I'm
very difficult to
for the audience.
Yeah. Well, just giving attention to, so part of it, if you look at the diagram that she had in front of us, you look at the energy centers in our body. So as you go up the middle, those are the basic 7 chakras in there. Mm-hmm. So you have your base chakra. You got 1, 2, 3, which is in the lower end of our body, which is kind of like the chakras of energy for survival. Yep. And then as you come
reproduction?
Reproduction and, survival, gut instinct, like, hey, there's something rustling over the bushes, I better run, you know. Mm-hmm. And then, actually, got to reproduce to keep this species alive. But then when you move into the 4th chakra and up, the 4th chakra is a heart. And then it's kind of like as you open up to this universal source, a heart we know now has like about 40 to 50,000 neurons in it. So it's activated and information can be directly related into it, not just the brain or the gut, but the heart. And then the throat chakra, it's kind of how we speak our word into it. And then we go into the 6th chakra, which is kind of the pineal gland, the third eye. And then we have the crown chakra that heads out. So this is kind of when we activate that. And so we've done meditations with that. And what activating means is getting them in sync, kind of like tuning my guitar up. Until my guitar is completely tuned, I can't play anything. It doesn't matter how great I am as a practitioner of the guitar. If it's not tuned, it's not going to translate.
Frank, that's so funny. I was going to bring that up, that exact analogy. So Frank helped introduce me to these different concepts a few years back, and one of the things that
That's
really...
why he's all messed up.
No, truly, you're one of my greatest mentors. Thank you. But I remember him. So I'm a musician. I've been a musician, my whole life. I remember Frank giving me an analogy.
Tell me band.
Well, yeah, I used to play in a band. So, back in the day, this was probably 15 years ago, but I had a chance, to write music, tour, not only the U.S. but internationally. It was an awesome experience. I played guitar. I was a songwriter. The band was called Ann Arbor, like Michigan. That's where my family's from. That's where my sister was born. She got me introduced to music.
So who came up with the name?
Me.
Oh, you came up with the name?
I suggested that to the band. My sister was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she gave me my first Blink-182 CD.
Oh, really?
Dude Ranch. I remember it very well. And so she, helped me get into music, and the whole rock and roll, punk rock, scene to me was so attractive. I could just see what I now know is freedom was what I was after, but it was so freeing to watch these people. It was no care for authority. It was being yourself. It was everything that my body was myself was calling me to. Yeah. And so I loved music.
Yeah, it's expression.
Yeah, because I look back now and I'm like, wow, what I was chasing was freedom. At the time, I didn't know. I thought I was chasing music. Oh, that's what I want.
Music was the focal point to your freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so when I started talking with Frank, just back and forth about these concepts early on and initially, the analogy that struck me most was when Frank was like, dude, okay, so kind of picture yourself as like a guitar, right? And you keep expecting yourself to play, and perform in tune. But each of your strings, let's say one string is you're dehydrated. One string is, you haven't slept in a while. One string is,
different variables.
Yeah. No meditation or, et cetera. Then another string is your personal life or your romantic life. Regardless, all of these strings, none were in tune. But yet I'm expecting myself, this body, this self, this corporeal being, to play in tune and to resonate and have this great experience. Yeah. And this is where a lot of us sit at home, which is, hey, I want this, I want all that, but we're not sleeping, we're not meditating, we're not eating healthy, we eat like crap, we're sucking down iced coffee all day. Just our body, we are doing nothing to help our bodies, yet we're expecting ourselves to play in tune. And this just was like a slap across the face for me, because I realized, like, holy crap, you're right. Yeah. I'm not in tune in any capacity, but I'm sitting here saying, why aren't I playing in tune? Well, why don't I try tuning the guitar? Yeah,
and that's it. So, like, even like all the stuff Mike mentioned about like eating like crap and not sleeping well, those are all byproducts of the instrument being out of tune. They're not the causation. So, like, I could play a tune on my guitar, and if it's out of tune, well, it's not the E chord that's making the guitar out of tune. It's just the individual strings are. Or I shouldn't say the E chord. It's the actual song that's not making out of tune. It was out of tune. So, stuff like meditation and understanding these principles, like the tree of life and all of a sudden all these chakras, when you understand them, and through stuff like meditation and different practices,
breath work,
different practices, you could align these energy fields, energy centers in our body, and how to use them. And then from there, once my guitar is tuned, I then have to play it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you bring that up, because it's not just what you're putting into the body. It's about your level of awareness, all of that. It does.
But
it starts at certain areas.
Well, because that's what it is. Once your body isn't tuned, like, in other words, if I tune my guitar really nice, I'm not going to thrash it, right? I'm actually going to play it as best I can, so it doesn't get so far out of tune after just one song or maybe a couple of chords. So, like, for instance, like, if I got my body in tune by putting food in my body, would thrash the body. I could get it back into it. It's not the end of the world. But when you actually get to this higher tune, you naturally play at a rate where it's more consistent, to where you're knocking the instrument out of tune. So all of a sudden, food and activity is part and parcel of that. So people often say, oh, you got to eat this, you got to do this. I'm like, no. I'm like, you get this thing elevated, you'll occur to you to do this, and doing this will be easy. Playing the song is easy if the guitar is tuned, but playing a great song isn't going to make my guitar tuned. Yep. Like playing Stairway to Heaven or some classical piece on my guitar doesn't make it tuned. But tuning it allows me to then play classical easier.
And that's the